Hi, good evening. My name is Sean Simpson, and I'm part of the Barbados Athletes Commission. And welcome to today's session on our week long of activities uh, in career in sport. Today's guest is going to be one of our own national players in sport of squash, Alex Jordan, and she's gone on now to be a world renowned sports journalist, sports broadcaster. Um, and I'll just give you a little background on Alex. Alex first swam as a junior for BIM in the eight and under breaststroke national champion. As she will let you know, she played on the primary school table tennis boys team, and she played as the national junior golfer. She soon hopes to make the senior team as well. As you know, if you follow Alex, you'll see her on the golf course a lot. And squash was the most successful and long lasting national sport of her tenure. Alex and I play. I'm a squash player as well. We've played on numerous uh, tours, from senior Caribbean championships to Central American and Caribbean Games to Pan Am Championships. And Alex is no doubt an all round talent, not just on the sporting arena, but obviously in the field of career that she's gotten into. So I'd just like to introduce Alex to everyone.
Wow, Sean, that was such a lovely introduction. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Brilliant.
And thank you for tuning in from where you let everybody know where you
Yeah,
are
I'm
spreading
in
your talent.
I'm in Abu Dhabi in the UAE, just ahead of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup. So it's just after 1 in the morning here, but bright and breezy and ready to go.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you for doing this and being a part of our initiative. We explained to you, one of the things that the commission is really looking to get into is letting our athletes in Barbados know what is out there for them, and not just pigeonholing themselves as an athlete. That's one of the biggest things that we want to be able to let our athletes know. There's a road beyond sports.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, let me start by just complimenting yourself, Sean, Anicia Wood, and the whole team in the Barbados Athletes Commission. I have been so impressed with what you guys have put together, the branding, the look, all your social media channels. It looks really organized, and I am really thrilled to be a part of it. So whenever you want me to start, we can get rolling.
Floor is all yours now, Alex, and thank you again. I'm looking forward to having a little back and forth with you as you go through.
All right, brilliant. Thank you, Sean, and thank you everybody who might be watching right now from wherever you are in the world, especially from Barbados. I send my thoughts and my hearts with you at this moment, a challenging time in our nation. But I wanted to start this presentation just to tell you a bit about who I am, because some of you may know me from the radio, from Slam 101.1 FM, and you know me from all different places. But really, sport, I've been in sport all my life, as Sean mentioned. Yes, I'm very proud of that 8 and under breaststroke champion. Just to show you that I was involved in sports and competition from a little girl. My family are a sporting family, and I just always loved it. It never occurred to me that life occurred without sport. So I always played sports, even at school. I then went on to play a little tennis, netball, and did whatever I could for Purple House at Queen's College. And the truth is, like, Sean is very kind to call me a talent, but the truth is I'm a very average athlete, very average. I just love it. And I really tried really hard, and squash was the vehicle for me. I managed to scrape my way on the team, and then they couldn't get rid of me. And I really enjoyed it. I actually wanted to make a point about that. That sport, at which I gained the highest level, I didn't start playing squash until the summer before I went to university, in my late teens. So I hope that's encouraging to someone as well who thinks that you have to be playing from your child to get any good at a sport. I started the summer before I went to university, and when I went to McGill University, I tried out for their team, and yeah, I made it as a reserve, and then made my way onto the team. And of course, being on university team helps to develop the sport. And then when I finished university, I was able to make the national team in Barbados. So don't give up. Don't think that if you haven't started from the beginning, you won't get anywhere. But yeah, CSC Games was the highest level I played, and I've always enjoyed my sport. But I just want to tell you a little briefly about my journey, because I'm here to talk to you guys about a career after sport. And really, I want it to be a career in sport. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. You understand me? Beer money devotes. And there's so many different careers within sport you can't even think of. So, when I go through my presentation, I'm just going to be giving you a few pointers I think might be helpful for you to start thinking about as you transition maybe from playing your sport full time and try to make a living in sport. Now, I've always wanted to be a broadcaster, and I went to try and find my way, went to London, England, I did all kinds of things. I was bartending. I wasn't getting any breaks in life. Anyway, the real break came that I got a little soca music show on the BBC. And this is kind of reminding me of it, because it was 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. on a Sunday night. So I used to have to be up at these kind of hours. Anyway, I stuck with that. And, that it was from that moment where I was nobody. My friends used to joke with me that only truck drivers were listening to me at that kind of time. From there, and I've really come a long way, I went back to Barbados after a while, and I helped to start Slam 101.1 FM. There was an opportunity for me to join Starcom when I got back, or help start this brand new station. And I felt like I wanted to bring something new and fresh, and I'm so glad I did. I hope some of you are still listening to Slam, always banging the hits. While I was at Slam 101 FM, Sportsmax TV called me because they lost their female anchor, Alexis Nunez. She got taken off by ESPN, and they wanted a woman. And I said, I'm sorry, do you have the right number? I don't do TV and I don't do sports. I'm in music and I'm in radio. And the guy said, yeah, no, I know that, but we know that you're a former athlete and we know that you can do it. So just come. And the first time I ever did live TV, ladies and gentlemen, I was live to the region. So it really was a huge transition for me. Anybody who would have been following my career would know how rubbish I was the first 6 months. It was really difficult. You had to learn on the job. Sportsmax, I learned some live TV skills. And then the CPL came along, and we decided we would do a Sportsmax. We would do a little YouTube show interviewing fans for the CPL. Well, that went so well that then the CPL called me directly. I left Sportsmax. And I think the rest is history, because once I got on the CPL broadcast, that is a global broadcast, and the world saw me. And now it's been the Olympics. Now I'm here at the Cricket World Cup, and life couldn't be better at the moment career-wise. So I am very grateful. At this stage, Sean, I wonder if you want to just show my show reel so people can have an idea of what I do, and then we'll get into my tips for a career in sport and to give some motivation for athletes about how they make a living after transitioning from their sport.
Okay, we're
ready to get going.
You've played a lot here. Can you tell me some of your best memories or experiences?
First of all, welcome to UAE for your first time, Alex, and hope you enjoy yourself.
The most amazing space I've ever been on a horse in, for sure.
The Tokyo 2020 Olympics has been filled with all the suspense and high drama that one could imagine. Perfect form.
Come on! Come on! Get him! Push him!
I bet you saw that 1, 2, 3 in the women's 100-meter final. What did you make of it?
Well, it made me smile because everywhere I go, I get the same question, which is, what on earth are we going to do now that Usain Bolt's not in the sport?
Hansel Parchment, yours is a long and storied career, including overcoming injury. Here you are today, the Olympic champion in the 110 hurdles. What does it mean to you?
So happy, so excited.
Congratulations, defended your title here at the Olympics. When we saw you enter the stadium, we saw your index finger. Were you telling us that goal was yours?
I was actually saying, watch God.
I'm with the Sri Lankan legend, Kumar Sangakkara, just post the Abu Dhabi T10. Sangha, let's start there. What a concept. 10 overs aside, go. The thing I love most about the format, for me as a viewer, is just how high octane. You know, if there's no real time for conservative play from either side, bat, ball, field, everyone's got to go in and got to go hard immediately. From a viewing perspective, ace.
And from a playing perspective, it's in and out.
Start your engines, gentlemen. Barbados Tridents, are you ready? Yeah!
5, baby.
Well, it's halftime here at the semi-final of the CPL 2018, and the biggest party in sport is about to get even bigger. His friends and family call him Boy, but his fans around the region and world know him as Mr. Fett. He is the happiest man alive. It's Marcel Montano.
Jason Holder is the nicest man in the world. I have never seen you at anything other than even and polite and calm. What is there a Jason underneath there that's a little more fiery that we don't know?
Need for speed. Let's go.
Yay.
Well done. And Alex, that's probably like the fourth time I've seen it, because obviously we did a preview of it, and every time it kind of still feels fresh. And one of the things that I don't know, that's my personal view, with how you present or your personality within the realm, is just like you can get to be real with whoever it is that you're talking to. You know, like you could feel like you're being welcomed by you, and people feel comfortable talking to you. You know, and I think that's the beautiful thing about you. You know what I mean? It's like easier. You know.
My authentic self. Well, thank you. And actually, that's something I want to tell everybody watching. I want y'all to know that I never studied broadcasting, and I wasn't no big athlete. And I think this is where we should start off our discussion. You know, I think I certainly grew up in a Barbados where you had this perception that whatever work you wanted to go on to do, you had to study, you had to be in the field. But we simply do not work in that. We don't live in that world anymore. I also play a role for the National Transformation Initiative. Y'all can log on and check it out, nti.org.bb. That is a wonderful resource for you because, what is this? Am I looking straight? Yeah, wonderful resource for you. It's free to all Barbadians, and it's a site where there are lots of courses that you can take, little mini courses. And I think we're really living in a world about skill collection. It's no longer studying things for long periods of time and being experts. You want to collect a series of different skills. So, for example, I never studied TV or radio. I never really studied sport, but that is what my whole career has been in, you know. I would like to call on all watching the Barbados Athletes Commission Forum 2021 to think about a career in sport. I mentioned at the top that there's tons of money involved. But I also want to get into the fact that log on, nti.org.bb, find something you're interested in, and just do a little course in it. Because if you can collect skills along the way, and I think that is something that I have managed to do, you know, collect little skills. I've been in interaction with Anicia Wood, who is one of the organizers for this, for example. On her level of organizational skill, that skill set, Anicia Wood could work anywhere in the world in any sport, right? Production manager, transport manager. I want you guys to understand that when you get to this level of sport, like this level of production, there are so many jobs you've never heard of. You don't even know they exist. In your mind, you think, okay, Alex Jordan's in media. I am the media person. But media involves a whole plethora of things. Right from people with organizational skills to people with people skills, Sean, I think that's where I have my strength, to people with technical skills, people who are good at social media. Your mind cannot even quite stretch to imagine the number of jobs available, not just in cricket, in athletics, in football, in, you know, there are a number of sports where There is a lot available to you. So log on to nti.org.bb, find a course that you might be interested in, either on our main site or through Coursera, and just pick up skills as you go. That would be my first piece of advice, skill set collection. The second thing I would say is to stay fit. Stay connected to your sport. I think when people stop playing at the highest level, sometimes, they tend to sort of, well, that was the old me, I am young no more. The longer you can stay connected to your sport and also fit in your body, body, mind, soul, the three are connected. I think more than ever, especially during this COVID period, I would like to encourage people, even as you seek work and maybe a living out, moving on from your sport, keep a sporting lifestyle, keep fit, keep active, and keep energetic. Because age is not inevitable. You can. The lucky of us get old, right? If you're lucky, you get old, but you don't have to get sort of oldie, right? You can maintain your health and wellness. I'm well into my 40s now, and I still think I'm doing all right, fighting fit. You know what I mean? Try a little thing. The next thing I would say. So we've talked about skill set. I've talked about please make a career in sport. Think about making a career in sport. I've talked about skill set collection, transferable skills, organizational skills. I mean, that is a real valuable asset. People who can do things. I'll give you a quick example. When we were on the CPL this summer, for example, we had a production manager. Now, this young lady, she was responsible for everyone's flights, obviously all the COVID or whatever, all the transportation from the hotel to the venue and back. This is for everyone. This is for players, this is for production staff, this is for whomever, everybody connected. She arranged the food down to the snacks in the comms box, everything. And the kind of energy and expertise she brought to her job, I had to stop her sort of halfway through and say, I cannot believe how good you are at your job. She inspired me to be better at my job, to get more energy, more pep in my step, to get more organized, because it really was the level of organization in me. And I thought to myself, I don't know if this girl has a degree. I don't know what she studied. I don't know how she got here, but she will always be working because she has this really good attitude and great organizational skill set. Those things can go a long way. So look at her. I mean, I don't know, she didn't play the sports. I know she's done that same job for rugby and for cricket, traveling the world, being paid a decent amount of money, and working amidst world-class athletes.
Nice.
The next point I would like to make is I'd like to encourage you all to read and learn all you can about all sports. I find it ironic that cricket has been my real gateway sport, because the first day I arrived in Queen's College, and this will show you how old I was, I went to sign up for cricket. I wanted to play cricket. My father was a legendary cricketer. And they told me, no, girls is rounders. You're over there. Only boys can play cricket. So I'm sorry, you guys missed out on my talent. You can blame Queen's College. But I definitely still followed cricket. Obviously, in my time, it was a real line because we were kings of the world and we weren't losing. So cricket was also a party. But I am so glad I kept following it and kept reading about it and kept being interested in it, because now here I have an opportunity to work in it. So regardless of what sport you're in, I would encourage you to learn as much as you can about all of the sports, because there are opportunities throughout. I will also encourage you to build relationships. This may be one of the most core important things, guys. As you transition from your sport, as you start looking at how am I going to make my living, what am I going to do, how you interact with people, your colleagues, people on your level, people below you, and people above you. Those are really important, to respect everybody in your field, no matter what their level, and learn from them. That is actually a life skill. It's a bit of a cliche that you can learn from everybody, but you really can. Even if you learn what not to do, even if you learn okay, that's been a good example of how I shall not proceed. That is useful and that is helpful.
But Alex, let me just to interject here. You're talking about building relationships and networking, and it's very important as an athlete to understand the implications of that, or the benefits of that, I should say, because the more you can network, the more you can build relationships, can help you after you finish your sporting career, right? Or even while you're still having your sporting career. But what would you say in an instance where someone may be an introvert and they keep to themselves? How do you encourage someone like that isn't as comfortable um, making friends or building relationships? How do you encourage someone like that to feel confident enough to understand the importance of this?
Okay, great question. A couple of suggestions. One, log on to nti.org.bp and find a course about bringing out your inner self, about learning to use your voice, about gaining confidence. When I tell you all, they got courses about everything. You can learn it. Confidence is something that can be learned. You know, I would like to just point out that I know that I come across as confident. I know this because people always tell me that. Oh, you're so confident. Up to tonight, waiting to come on this, my palms are sweating. I project confidence, but it's a war inside of me, nervous, anxious. That's very natural not to always feel like, you are the business. So one, I would say, study it, read about it, learn. Two, I would say, the fitter you get, the fitter your body is, the more confidence you can gain. And three, I would say, I hate this term network. It's obviously the right term to use, Sean. But I feel as if it feels a bit like, someone is trying to meet people to try to climb to the top of the ladder. That's not what I mean about building a relationship. What I mean is, okay, so let's just give an example. Like I used to do some distance running. So you go and you do a 5K or whatever. And after the 5K, maybe you go and you see and you warm down with people as opposed to going straight in your car and go home.
Right.
Open yourself to the opportunity to meet people. You don't have to nuff up yourself or what we used to call foul, like, hi guys, hi, that's, and especially if it's not your personality, I wouldn't encourage pushing that. What I'm saying is put yourself in the opportunity, in the space, in the environment where you might meet or you might overhear, or someone says, hey, I saw Sean Simpson, man, he ran the 5K, he does a bit of running. If you keep yourself in the mix, opportunities and relationships can come to you, especially good for an introvert, right? If you're an introvert and you're not necessarily going to go and strike up a conversation with anybody, etc., just be there. Be on the dance floor at least. So when you hear the hard tune, you can bust away. That's just a metaphor. Good question, Sean. The next point I was going to make is dare to put yourself forward, which I think is tied into this one. How do I even start this story? When I moved to London, I decided I was going to move to London and make my living and make, I had a pretty well-known father, and I had this idea that I didn't want to be people think I get anything because of him. I was going to make it on my own. Well, I was struggling. I was working nights. Nothing was going right for me. I just couldn't get any breaks. So it was Notting Hill Carnival, and I decided I was going to go on the road for Notting Hill Carnival and enjoy myself. I went alone. I couldn't get anyone to go with me. I had a little quick 2 rums and hit the road. Anyway, jumping on the road, and I saw like a little film crew, Peter C from Ecstatic Family, Machel Montano's band. I recognized him. And I went over and said, oh my God, Ecstatic Family. Yeah, I'm from Barbados. Well, so I said, what are y'all doing here? And he goes, oh, we're making a documentary on Notting Hill Carnival. And with the 2 rums in me, I took the mic from him and said, well, this is my town. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Notting Hill Carnival. I'm Alex Jordan. Let me show you around. Anyway, a few of those clips, after he grabbed back the mic from me, made the final cut. And 1 year later, I got a phone call out of the blue. This is the BBC. We saw you on a documentary. We know you live in London. Can you come and audition to be a soca DJ on the BBC? That's how I got my first break in life. And it was not a plan. I didn't apply. I just dared to put myself out there. So I would always tell you, that, man, you got to be brave in this life. We got one life to live. It's not a dress rehearsal. COVID time definitely teaching us it's shorter and it's more precious than we'll ever know. You have to have a bit of courage in this thing, in life and in sport. You as athletes know better than anyone, right? Those moments before a match or before a big tournament, before a big game, you've prepared, you got your team, you got your friends and family cheering you on, but you got to have some internal courage, and you got to learn how to channel that, not just in your sport, but after in your life and in the making of your living. The next thing I want to say is to look for gaps in the market. There's tons. When you're in your sport, or I always used to go to, for example, track and field events at the National Stadium, and up to now I'd be like, anybody emceeing this? Who's on the mic? Who's on the mic? Because I feel like somebody should be on the mic, and it should be me. I mean, I never went through and did it, but I think it's an example of looking for a gap in the market. I think what was the name of the athletics federation, whatever, Barbados, the AAA, Amateur Athletic Association, somebody, some budding presenter or some budding, even business person could be like, look, you guys, sport is entertainment. Somebody needs to build something around this event. It's not just the athletes showing up. We need a presenter, we need a DJ, we need some live events happening. Those are gaps in the market. Those are areas of opportunity for entrepreneurs like you. I'm talking to you and you watching this. That's an opportunity. Yeah, not only to build the sport, help develop Barbados and Barbados' sporting arena, but to build your own career and get opportunities. And trust me, you do it 1-2 minutes for Barbados, St. Vincent can be calling, Antigua can be looking in. Like, that is the thing. We live in a really global and connected world right now. So look for the gaps in the market. I mean, I think I've been very lucky in terms of gaps in the market. I got the call from Sports Max, where they called me at Slam, because the woman had left Sports Max. They need a woman. Yep. So, I get a blind ear. That was a gap in the market. And I would like to speak to all my female athletes specifically. Lots of opportunities for you in this moment. Let's grab them with both hands. Our mothers and our grandmothers did not have these opportunities. They worked. They slaved in the home and around things so that we could have these opportunities to make use of them. My next one, and maybe my last point for fair banging one, I don't know how I'm doing for time. We can have a chat afterwards, Sean. Is seek out mentors. Seek out mentors. You may have one or two already in your sport, but you need mentors in life. You need people who you think, what, I would value their advice, or what would they do, or I like what they've done with their life or their career. I like how they've moved through their sport. Find a mentor and don't be ashamed. Go to them. Ask questions. Ask all the dumb questions you would like to ask. I hate the expression. How many times I hear and I see vicious people on social media talking about, that's a dumb question. No such thing as a dumb question. Okay, trust me. I am on working with the world's best in cricket commentators. A man like Ian Bishop played the sport for the West Indies, is legendary not only as an athlete, but now as a cricket commentator. We're on a group together, when we were at the CPL, our stats people were virtual. So we were sending questions to them, they were sending stats and information on a WhatsApp group. And Ian Bishop is asking questions. And I think to myself, wait, hang on. If he can ask a question like that, the man knows the sport tall, has been involved in sport all his life, who am I? I must be able to ask. I really encourage you not to be ashamed in your life to ask questions, to seek out people who might be able to give you advice and help propel you forward. I think we got a lot of shame in our culture surrounding that, and I think it's unnecessary. So that would be my sort of last tip. That's on my list of things to talk about. Good. Oh, video sticking. Oh no, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, audio was fine. Fine. Yeah, it was just at certain points the video would pause for a little bit.
Right. If I could just review my points, I want y'all to make a career in sport. I want you to make a career in sport. Think about it. There's so much opportunity. Find the gap in the market and fill it. It doesn't have to be your sport, and it doesn't have to be something you've studied or that you're an expert in. What do you think that you like doing? What do you think that you're good at? Work your way in. Is it physiotherapy? Is it, I don't know. Is it counseling? Is it organizational skill? Anything. And nothing is too small or too, once again, I make the point. I never studied a day of journalism, and I'm not no big athlete. I never played a cricket match. I never held a cricket bat. And right now, that is my career. So I want to encourage you with that. Stay fit, stay playing your sport. Log on to nti.org.bb, the National Transformation Initiative. Find a little mini course that might enhance you in a certain area. If you're an introvert, find one on building confidence, etc. Build relationships and be courageous. Dare to put yourself forward.
Love that, Alex. And just to kind of touch back on the point with dare to put yourself forward. Sometimes our athletes, again, may, coming up in our society where it's more like, okay, you go to school, and sports is generally seen as a hobby, right?
Yes.
Oh, you go and do that and you could get a scholarship, but the scholarship is more important than the sport. So after you finish the scholarship, we're not focusing on the sport anymore. And I like what you said in terms of knowing how to put yourself out there. You want to be able to say, look, yes, I'm more than an athlete, but the sport is what's gotten me here. As you said, it's part of my life. It's something that, as you said, if I start to think about who and what I've done over the years, you can find what really interests you. Like Akila mentioned the other day on her live, that she figured out what she wanted to do based on what she was looking when she looked at her statistics on Instagram, based on what she was viewing, right? And that's something that people can actually look at in their general life. Go about looking at what interests you in your life,
So many good points. I want to get back to this thing about sport as a hobby or some kind of sideline thing. When I was at the Olympics, right, obviously we did a lot of work in track and field at the stadium. Oh my God, if I had $1 for every time one of the Jamaican members of the Jamaican delegation would come and give me pressure about, we're Barbados. I mean, big up Shade, big up Jonathan Jones, and the few Barbadian athletes were there. But there was a general feeling, and we would talk in the hotel afterwards with other Jamaican journalists. Where is Barbados? Where is Barbados? Why aren't they taking sports more seriously? You guys have the same physical attributes. We're natural athletes. And I was explaining to them that we don't really have a culture, like you say, Sean, that takes sports seriously. I mean, I hope when you watch the Olympics and you see someone like Sherika Jackson and you watch her life change overnight. And I want you to know it's not going to be just her life. It will be her granny's life, her community's life, and ultimately it will impact Jamaica, right? It builds a nation. We have to get rid of this idea about doctor, lawyer, bank manager. Them days done. We don't need no more lawyers, that for sure. I know at the moment we need some doctors, but we don't need, we need people in sport. Sport is big business, guys. It's legitimate business, not just money. It is something. It's a very honest, great field, and we have to approach it that way. Not just when we're finishing our sport from school days. We have to let children know this here could change your life. Even if you sort of started as you playing road tennis and you became really good in road tennis. There's so many skills you can learn there that transferable, not only to other sports, but then to become work in the business of sport, after you finish. What I wanted to ask you, when she was looking at her statistics on Instagram, you mean, how do you look at what you view?
I am not 100% sure. It may be in that second panel where when you go into that second panel, it just shows you profiles or pages that are similar to what you've been viewing.
Okay, so the suggestions. Okay.
Yeah, the suggestions, yeah.
That's a brilliant idea from Akita, because sometimes we don't know what we're good at, or we don't really know what we're interested in. For a person like me, I'm multi-interested. I I would like to remind you all that my degree was language and sort of third world politics. I'm into social justice. You'll see that lots of the things I talk about are about the region, the CARICOM region, and that's really where my passion is. So I always thought I would be a diplomat or work in this or that. I never thought about sport. I never once occurred to me I could work in sport. And I even think back to my brother who's older than me. Akila says she looked at her Explorer page.
There you go.
Thanks. Hi, Akila. Big bad Akila Jones, yeah, man.
Yeah.
My brother, who was the firstborn, he was an extraordinary golfer. In fact, he was Barbados' youngest national champion. He won the Barbados Open at 16 or something. Really, really good golfer. And that was at the time Tiger Woods was coming up too. And I remember thinking, gosh, I wish my brother could become a professional golfer. And I remember at the time thinking, yeah, right. I mean, that's for the people from big countries. We have to study. We have to go through the traditional way. My friends, believe me when I tell you that is no longer true. The world is your oyster, and you can work in anything, anywhere you want to. Sport is a really legitimate way to make your living.
Yeah, and Alex, as you would know, I play squash for Barbados. I also play volleyball, so I've been balancing both sports for well over, I would say, almost 2 decades now, and I also went to school, university degree in accounting, and the funny thing is I worked in the finance field from the time I finished university up until about 3 years ago when I made the big switch and said, you know what, I'm going to become a squash coach. And some people were like, why would you want to do that? Is there enough money in that? Is there this? Is there, are you sure? But the thing about it is, as you said, you gotta put yourself out there. You got to be able to believe that you will be successful in whatever you do. And given the fact that I have played squash for so long, I'm the number one player in the country, national champion, whatever you want to put out there in the field. I felt like, Sean, this is a natural fit. This is a no-brainer.
Brilliant. Such a brilliant point, Sean. I'm so glad you brought it up too, because you've not lost your accounting degree. Your accounting skills now come to the fore, and that's why you're on the organization, squash organization committee. That's why you're on the athletes commission. You have an idea about numbers, about how to manage your money, about business, etc. Those things are skill collection, right? You didn't want to be that at perfect. Bring it into your sport and move forward. And may I just say publicly, Sean, the double sports for the decade, that's extraordinary. I mean, your level of talent is exemplary, but also like the effort, the amount of effort you put in. I salute you, bro. So much excellence for such a prolonged period of time.
Thank you. I tell you, it has not been it has not been an easy road, but as you said, in the level of discipline, effort, and I can tell you that my body is starting to feel it as I creep closer to 40. But
yes, I wondered about that. How is it feeling? How is the body feeling?
It's getting harder, but little niggles, little pain, but I'm still loving both of the sports, and squash. We are looking to keep ourselves fit and active, and looking forward to next year.
Yeah, I want to talk about. I was thinking to myself, I hope that people aren't thinking only media. I wanted to make the point that within media, there are a million jobs that don't really have anything to do with being in front of the camera. I met some Indian guys in this CPL who do something called the Kidditch Tracker, QT. Yeah. I think the BCCI, the Indian board, they've come up with this technology where, I think if you watch cricket, you can see it. It's like a little map of the field, and you can see little dots representing the fielders, and they move as the fielders move. That technology, somebody developed that technology. And that, my friends, when that takes off, that is millions upon millions for somebody. And that's some tech nerd in the back. That ain't a guy who full of confidence and in front of the camera and networking. That's him bringing his skill and seeing a gap in the market and saying, hang on, I can apply my knowledge of, built software and how this works to this area.
Yep.
I was astounded by it. I thought, wow, that's brilliant. And the broadcast didn't even know it needed it. But now it's like, oh yeah, great. That adds something to the broadcast. Every now and again it will pop up and then disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example.
You're right there in talking about there's so many things out there that we can get into within sport. It just dives into how many avenues there are within the sporting industry that somebody can get into. And it doesn't necessarily need to be, as you said, a broadcaster, an athlete, somebody that is in admin on the admin side of the sport. There's so many avenues for somebody to get.
Totally. I was thinking the other day how I think in our country, and in fact in our region, we don't have a lot of good managers. I don't know. I didn't have a lot of good managers coming up in my jobs throughout. But you see, becoming a coach, becoming a mentor, a man manager, if you pardon the expression, also a woman manager, those skills, being able to inspire people, marshal the troops, to make people feel that you care about them, inspire them into better things, those skills there, they are multi-million-dollar skills.
Yep.
Another example.
Nice.
I mean, eventually, I guess, depending on what sport you're in, you might have to get some qualifications to be an official coach. But there are opportunities in many sports, without all them papers and officialdom.
Yeah, I can tell you. I mean, obviously, I went through and did my own official certification in squash, and what that did, taking my own personal development coming through the years and knowing, okay, this is what I've done along the way, being coached, and now saying, well, look, Sean, you've got into pretty much one of the highest levels as an amateur, semi-pro, and knowing, okay, this has been my journey. I know what has worked for me to get me up to the highest level, and trying to apply that with the next generation or even persons at my age and my level, because as you rightfully said, you can learn from anyone as long as you have an open mind, right? And that's one of the things I try to put forward in my own students and say that I'm willing to learn from you as well, because everybody is different. And you have to understand everybody's path is going to be different as well.
I remember the first year I worked for the CPL Direct as a not through Sportsmax, CPL Direct. I spent the whole time just feeling so grateful. So I hope the bubble doesn't burst. And the big boss, a man called Hugh Bevan, he called me one day on my phone. I remember being like, "What you could want from me? What you could want from me?" So I feel like I'm a real underling. What are you calling me for? And I answered, he goes, "Hey, listen, we're thinking of a closer. So at the end of the production, the TV people, they want a closer, meaning a selection of moments throughout the tournament to wrap up the whole tournament, a big final countdown kind of vibe." And he goes, "I was thinking, I want to use something very Caribbean. I don't know if there's any poetry or a song or anything. I thought that you'd be the right person to approach, Can you just put your creative hat on, think about it for a day or two, whatever?" When I put down that phone, I was like, he's giving me the opportunity to do this. He's asking me to do this. And I decided, you know what we can do? We can get somebody to speak the David Rudder song, "Can You Hear a Distant Drum?" Mm-hmm. Dancing on the laughter of a melody. So we took David Rudder's first 5 or 6 lines, and I went back to him and I said, that sums up the Caribbean vibe. This is the perfect thing. We should get Ian Bishop to voice it, and it's going to be really dramatic, and then you can have the image. So I coming back full of vibes now. I was so excited that he's given me this opportunity. He said, "Ian Bishop, your voices, you're going to voice it. Your idea, you will voice it." And I created and voiced this closer for the CPL. The point being, I felt so endorsed, so believed in, or whatever. If I ever have the opportunity to manage or mentor anybody, I have learned so much about how you make people excited, bring them into a team, give them inspiration. And you talked about, now from being coached all the years, what worked for you. I bet you also know what didn't work for you. I bet I remember we had a squash coach who shall remain nameless. who I really struggled with because it was so obvious to me that he only liked the talents. He only liked number one and two the big dogs. He ain't really interested in me, and I felt like I am the bad one. I am the shitey one. I am the one who needs to be most. But he only wanted to be associated. And again, that taught me a lot. You got to bring in the outsiders. You got to bring in the people who maybe not as good but willing to try hard. All this to say that you learn from everyone.
Yeah, and just to touch back on that, your journey was slightly different in squash, and I mean, one of the things that always sticks with me is that I never was the star boy in squash. I sucked at first, my first year or so, and it's only through some encouragement from Gavin Cumberbatch that I stuck with the sport really and truly, and eventually, it was he and I going at it, and even coming up, I don't think most people expected me to develop to be the Barbados number one, Caribbean number one, win a medal for Barbados at CAC games and so forth. But as you say, you just need to be able to say, look, I know what's working for me. I know what is not working for me, and align yourself with individuals or an individual that will get the best out of you.
Yeah. All these athletes watching, that's a great story, Sean. Many people around the region are interested in your stories as well. Telling your own story about your experience in your sport and stuff. Those things are valuable. Those things have a value and a monetary value.
Exactly. And as you said, you are not a standout athlete, but you are an all-rounder. Like you give your best for whatever it is that you're going to do. As you said, you did swimming, you did table tennis, you did golf, you did squash, and you didn't have to necessarily be the best, but for you represented the best version of yourself.
Yes, sir. And I would like to tell the Athletes Commission, you guys start with a head start, because when you're in a sport teaches you so much, right? You got discipline, you know what it means to hurt, you know what it means to lose, to win. Like, you learn so many skills through your sport that you can use and translate into your entrepreneurship, into whatever way you want to make your living after sport. In lots of ways, athletes start at an advantage. When Akila finished with her sports, right? The world is her oyster. She could do anything, including be a fashion model.
That too.
Furthermore.
That too. But
I don't know if anybody's watching live, but we can take any questions, because I think we only have a couple more minutes.
Yeah, I was just about to say, at this point, what we will do is have this time to field any questions from the public, and just want to thank you again in terms of how you laid it out, and again bringing your energy, your delivery, and like I said, that's one of the things I enjoy in our conversations, knowing that, as I said, it's so warm, welcoming, and it makes you comfortable. So
I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, man.
I hope we brought up a few things to help athletes thinking about entrepreneurship in sport, because entrepreneurship is not something separate to your own personality, right? It's not some other thing. All of your skill sets, everything you bring to the table is part of what you offer the world. It's part of the entrepreneurship. Oh, I missed that was Craig Archer. Hi, Craig Archer. Thank you. Yeah, we are second to none. That was something I can't say good and insightful. That's Obadele.
Oh, thanks, Oba.
Yeah.
He should be a national hero.
Well, he's as big as it gets, right?
Exactly.
Actually, when the Jamaicans were giving me pressure at the Olympics, they were like, no, sir, no way you guys don't produce more medals after Obadele. Obadele should have been an inspiration to the nation to then have more and more.
It's true. And one of the, so, I mean, at this point, if you have any questions, anyone that's listening in, we will be glad, Alex will be glad to
definitely
do them. And, we only have a few more minutes, so try to get questions in.
While you type your questions, let me see if I can make my last point there a little more succinct. I think when I was growing up, I had this idea that my work, my job, there was going to be things I had to do for my work, and then my own self was separate from that. I had my home self and my work self. But I think what I've learned as I've grown and developed is that you have to bring all of yourself to your work. You have to bring all of yourself, because in fact it's an entire skill set. You don't leave some at home. And again, if you're working for people, and you're uninspired and you're not being encouraged, look, we live in a time now. Dust out, do something else, move on, find an area where you're being encouraged, where you're being encouraged to grow. I heard this wonderful expression. Oh, it was on Ted Lasso. You guys been watching Ted Lasso?
Yeah, I have been.
Oh, it's so good. The guy said that a good mentor expects you to move on. No, a good mentor suspects you might move on right after they've hired you. A great mentor expects you to move on. And I think that we have been guilty in our region of people not wanting to see you get too far because they don't want to lose you. That's not how the world works. Yeah. You should really, if someone comes up underneath you and expands and flowers, that is a light on you.
It is. It really is. So Alex, until we get a question coming forward, all right, you're at the T20
World Cup
right now. What next do you see yourself doing? What is the next level for Alex Jordan?
Well, the next level is to be in a place like this in a commentary position, because I am doing something called a digital insider. So I'll be doing all this sort of pre-show and interviews, social media stuff. The next level is to get my commentary to a level where I can go to these big tournaments and commentate, because, using my voice and storytelling, I think after all these years and trying to work out what is it that I'm good at, I think that's my skill, is being able to tell a good story, get people involved, get people interested. And of course, to be paid for it and to watch a sport I love would be the ultimate thing. I'm hoping to stay on after the World Cup to do the Abu Dhabi T10, which is something I did last year. And then, of course, in January, it doesn't stop. They got the Under-19 World Cup in the West Indies. They got the Women's World Cup in Australia. West Indies have series. I hope I will get a look into. I met on the last night of CPL, I met the Cricket West Indies head, Mr. Skerritt. And he came over and told me he was very impressed with my work during the CPL. And I said, oh, that's interesting, because I haven't done much West Indies stuff. And he was like, no, you definitely should be, So hopefully
that's another instance of putting yourself forward.
It is. Because another person would have said, oh, well, thank you so much. I moved on. But I was like, excuse me, I am going to ask this. This is the man who makes some of the decisions.
Okay, so Yatanya, how does Barbados leverage the likes of your talent to advance sports? That's what Yatanya was asking.
Wow, that's a great question, Yatanya. Well, I think when I establish myself, I hope to be used across the nation to talk about sport and to encourage sport. I think that you can use me, again, my voice, my enthusiasm and those things to kind of ignite some things in sport. I would like us to produce more track and field athletes. I think track and field is an area where you don't need anything, right? In a posh sport like golf or squash, where you probably need a little money to buy some rackets or buy some equipment and rent time on the course. You don't need anything like that. Can you run? Can you jump? I think it's such an opportunity for our youngsters in Barbados, regardless of your background or what your parents do or how much money your family has. And I think they might be more encouraged to get into it when they see some life in it, when they see some vibe in it. You can imagine going to watch a meet at the stadium. When I first went to a meet in Jamaica, right? I spent the whole time in the stands with my mouth open. You got a dance hall performance, dancers, like confetti. It felt like carnival. Then they have this and that. It's a whole production. When they have like in Jamaica, when they even have a press conference, like to announce the launch. Okay, this tournament is coming up. We're gonna have a press conference. It's a big thing, Sean. it's not just like, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I would like to no, them days done. And that is not encouraging anybody to get involved. This next generation, the TikTok generation, you gotta grab them by the scruff of the neck.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So Waitanya, my answer would be, use me as you will. I am a patriot. I love my country. My country is what put me here. My country is what gave me this opportunity with a free education and with the privilege of being able to play sport for my nation and wear the trident on my back. So anytime I can help anybody in any capacity, I definitely am available to do so.
And Alex, you're doing it now in the sense that you have the NTI, you're assisting here, so so it shows that you're willing to give back. And one of the things that I believe we heard in the first live as well was that athletes are willing to give back as long as national federations or the Athletes Commission or Olympic Association, as long as somebody reaches out to them with something that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to give your time if it's something like, okay, I don't see where this is going,
Right.
Like, how am I really helping?
Sure.
So, just to say that, you have started that process of being leveraged upon,
Yes.
So this next question comes from Soraya Topping Herbert. She's asking, how do we shift the perception of sports from hobby to a multidimensional avenue for careers?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. That's the $1 million question, isn't it, Soraya? But I think the world has changed so quickly. The world has changed so fast since the internet. We are in danger, or should I say we've been left behind? Not in danger. We have been left behind. Even me in my 40s, I find it hard to keep up. And we are an aging population. So imagine the majority of Barbadians, how they feel that you have to have an email address, you have to be digitally savvy, etc. The world has changed. So we have to change our idea that unless you were at Harrison College or Queen's College and went and study, that you ain't gonna have no career. We have to understand that. I don't know why we don't look at some exchanges with Jamaica, because you can hear these stories and you can look and you see, but you see, obviously life for the average Jamaican is much harder than for the average Barbadian. So they grew up in a place where they got a lot more to gain, right? Like if they make it in sport, their whole life change in a way that is so transformative. But they're also growing up in a culture where sport is very valued, it's revered, right? Their athletes are up on the walls, in murals, in adverts. You can walk past a Bajan athlete and not recognize them.
It's true.
Let me start there. That is my suggestion. How do we transform this idea that it's just whatever? We have to big up our athletes. We have to make them look like something aspirational. Right? We should start there. And we've missed a trick because we haven't had a lot of global successes since over. Certainly not in the Olympics. I mean, we have in other areas. We got young Zayn Maloney making big waves in driving, and we have obviously cricketers. Guys, I am so proud all the time when I'm talking to anybody in the world of global cricket. I'm doing these interviews. I've already done Ireland, and we did Sri Lanka, and we did one more today. It may continue all week. When you ask them things like, who do you admire, who brings the best vibe in the cricket, who do you love to watch? West Indies. It's us. We bring the vibe to the thing because we are great. We're not only great at the sport, but we got a little flavor with the thing, right? So I think we need to recognize that we are great beyond measure, powerful. And I don't know what it takes to make that shift in the mentality, but I do think a good first step is to elevate the status of athletes in our country. You can imagine, Sean, not only that sport is a multi-dimensional place and a multi-billion-dollar industry to make a living, right? Let's put that aside. Let's forget that you could make good money for you, your family, your community, and your country. What about dealing with diabetes and obesity and all them things? It should be the main focus. Our little children should be running about from day dot, not drinking soft drinks. The amount of childhood obesity in our country is a crying shame. So, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into that, but the pressure on our health system, what it means for the future of our country, sport has got to be at the forefront.
I agree. I agree. We have, as you said, high levels of childhood obesity on a whole, and and as you said, it's putting a strain on our healthcare, especially in light of COVID right now, where you're seeing the NCDs taking a few of our
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Um, I see Craig here. Craig Archer has a question. Should the BOA try to offer courses in public speaking to help our national athletes to be more confident and outgoing, which would help them to network better, etc., etc.?
Thank you, Craig, for your question. Barbados Athletes Commission, when I was coming on here to talk to you about becoming entrepreneurs in sport, I was thinking, God, am I really an entrepreneur though? I guess I am. I guess I am. One of my entrepreneurial ideas for Alex Jordan is that I have already spoken to Cricket West Indies. I also spoke to the BOA, and we just haven't got it together yet to really properly make it happen. I would like to offer that I feel I can teach people how to not only to learn public speaking, but how to project themselves and build confidence. So maybe that's a gap in the market I need to now try to fill. But any of you out there watching and listening, what skill can you offer me to help me build that business? Who's good at social media? Who can build a website? Who can help me organizationally? Because I have no organizational skills, zero. You know what I mean? This isn't a good example. So Craig's suggestion, let's pitch something to the BOA. Alex Jordan, I've got the skill set, but I lack a lot of skill sets. I need someone to help me organize it. I need someone who's techie, who can help me in this arena,
Yeah.
on arena. And there you go. All of a sudden, 3 people are employed, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things Nisia touched on with her interview with Akila as well. That one of the ideas of our community, the athletes community, is to be able to connect with one another. Rightfully, as you said, if somebody has a request that, look, I'm looking to develop my web page. Any athletes out there that are skilled in this, I can use you, and you have that building relationship situation happening there.
Actually, let me use this opportunity and put it out there. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jordan is looking for someone to run her social media. If anybody's got social media skills, I'm willing to pay you monthly to run my social media and improve it for me. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. So anybody willing, just contact the Barbados Athletes Commission, or you can look for Alex Jordan on IG and shoot her a DM. And there's
Look at that.
Alex
Anita
Jordan's.
Wood. Shout
There's
out
Alex
Anita Wood
Jordan's
and her organizational skills.
organizational skills. That's her handle. And I don't see any more questions popping up at the moment. And Alex, I think we're over our time with you, and it's as you said, it's already late over there, and we want you to get some rest and be bright and bubbly and everything in the morning.
Yeah, I have Papua New Guinea in the morning. I don't know. It's their first time in the World Cup, so I'm a little nervous ahead of that because 1, their English is not going to be super strong,
Right.
and 2, I don't know the athletes very well, but I got a great team, so I'm sure we'll get through it.
Okay, so the last thing I want to do here before we go, Alex, is one of the things we're doing here is that we're going to give away a shirt, and how it works is I'm going to ask a question, and the person that gives the answer correctly quickest will be that person to win the shirt. Now this shirt will be a my team 246 shirt. Just again with the branding, getting it out there so persons understand what the Barbados Athletes Commission is all about and what athletes are all about. So I'm gonna try to see if somebody was actually paying attention to all the tidbits and background information on you, Alex.
Okay.
And my question, and you can tell me if this may be too hard or not, but my question is, what was Alex Jordan's first breakthrough in her career now? She spoke about it not once, but twice.
Wow, I think that's hard because there've been different levels of breakthrough. The very first break.
The very first break. You mentioned it twice.
Okay.
And I'll see if people don't get it, then
All right,
then
we'll do another one.
we'll go and do another one. So I'll wait on these answers and
Let's see
let's
who's watching live. I know it's a little early in the afternoon for you guys. Oh my God, Mateo, Mateo's on it.
He's on it. Okay, so Mateo Elliott, you've won a shirt here, and just get in contact with us at the email listed below, athletescommission@olympic.org.bb, and we will make sure that we get that shirt to you as quickly as possible. And
I'm so impressed with the Athletes Commission. I'm really impressed with this setup, guys. Y'all are doing a real good job. It's slick. It looks real slick.
Yeah, man. And as you said, Anisi has been the one really being the organizer behind it, but the Athletes Commission, we've all chipped in to put this all together for the athletes, because we understand, as you said, there's a gap in the market for something like this, and athletes need to have a voice. They need to understand that there's a future, there are different paths, and it's not just them out there alone to get by, you know?
Sorry, I thought about one more entrepreneurial avenue. One of the journalists, the Jamaican journalist at the Olympics who was there, Andre Lowe, actually, he's now he broke the Sha'Carri Richardson doping story globally, right? A Jamaican journalist from Medina, very clever, very switched on. But he talked a little bit about his business to me, and I was like, oh, really? And he and some people are involved in putting on sporting events. Mm-hmm. That hadn't even occurred to me. Don't wait on people to be like, you set up an event, and then a sporting event can become, it can become a bigger thing, a more social thing. It can be like, then you have a bar, then you have a restaurant, then you have performers, and then all of a sudden there's 300 people watching the event when instead of just the people connected to the sport, So event organization and stuff like that, there are opportunities, gaps in the market that would also help, regarding the earlier question, build this idea that sport is more than some kind of hobby thing in Barbados,
Agreed. But Alex, as I said, thank you again for giving up your time and giving back and help. I really do hope that those live have had a good time, and we've shared a lot of information, and those that will rewatch this on YouTube or Facebook, we really hope that you will gain something out of this at the end of the day and understand what it is that we're trying to do. And again, as I said, thank you.
Well, Sean, thank you. It's really my honor. Thank you guys for having me, and I really hope it's been useful.
Yes, you're welcome. And tomorrow, so that we will finish here, tomorrow is going to be Shalice Jordan at 6:30 p.m. And
before we go any further, Shalice Jordan, I have two friends in Barbados who are world-class people, wealthy people, well-known people, global people. We're big into body work and massage. They tell me up to last week, Alex, we found a world-class person in Barbados by the name of Shalice Jordan. You have to check her out. This woman's name is gold in those circles. So make sure you tune in to hear from Shalice Jordan. Boy, she's doing talk about world-class. She is a world-class therapist.
She is, and she's my therapist too. So I know that she's gold to me.
I want to get a piece of that action when I get back though. I'm gonna have to call her.
No problem, man. So tomorrow, 6:30, Shalice Jordan, and she'll be giving her journey in a career after sport. And as I said, I just want to sign off here, and I wish you everybody a good night. Alex, sleep well, and I wish you all the best with your interview with Papua New Guinea.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. Good night.